Get to the chopper!
You know what you are? You're one of those little fancy lads, aren't you?
Link and I are cruising the mountain, bro. We figured we'd do some little juice.
Welcome, everybody, to another Q's and T's episode of The Unkind Rewind. Joined again this week by my co-host, Sean McGrath. I'm Josh Dugan, of course. Sean, how is Nueva York?
It's hot, man.
Is it?
It's a hot city. I don't know if you guys have been feeling it out there, but
Nope.
It's already mid-80s, I was going to say late 80s. Too much movie talk. High 80s in New York. Even when it's overcast, it's a brutal hot too.
Yeah.
It's one of those where if you are going somewhere and you want to look halfway decent, you got to bring a change of clothes.
Yeah, it's swampy.
I once said that, like, walking around New York in the summer, and last time I checked, we're not even in the summer yet.
Nope.
But great.
I mean, calendar rolled over to June, so in my eyes, more than solstice. Once June hits, yeah.
Once kids are out of school.
Right.
But yeah, you got to bring an extra shirt because the one that you wear is like pulling the cellophane off of a fruit roll-up.
Yeah.
With the same sound. But not as fruity.
No, sadly. Just, it's a lot saltier.
Not as sweet. Way saltier.
Yeah. Summers would vacillate, or like one summer would be one way in Austin and one summer would be completely different. In the humid summers where it wasn't quite as hot, you'd feel like you're going to die.
Did you have a specific year that you think of when you think about like the worst summer of Texas? And you're not even in, I mean, Austin is slightly north, right?
Of what? It's south of most of the country.
Let's see. Yeah. Amarillo.
It's south of Amarillo.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
Texas is hot. And
yeah. Austin had one of the summers where it wasn't humid, but we had like 90 days over 100. That was pretty bad. They've had worse ones since, but that one sucked.
Yeah, I think I was trying to leave New Mexico once and we couldn't leave because it was too hot.
Yeah.
That's rough. And then you have to...
At least there's no humidity there.
Yeah, but you still had to pay like 10 to 20 people to get off the flight.
Sure.
Because it was not going to operate on 100% capacity with the conditions. So yeah, a lot to look forward to if you are a human under the age of, let's say, 75. It's going to be like this for a while.
Yeah.
Not morbid or fatalistic at all. But, oh boy. I did get a callback to this Vanessa Kirby movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know if you know the name Benjamin Caron.
It's not ringing a bell.
Directed some Sherlock, some Crown.
Okay. British TV director.
Yeah. Also Andor, I believe.
Okay.
Movie's called Night Always Comes. I'm pretty sure I can say the name of the movie. It's been announced.
Working title.
Mm-hmm. Night Always Comes. Has a little bit of a... Remember that Amanda Seyfried movie, Gone?
Yeah.
Did you see it?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you see everything. Has a little bit of that.
Okay.
A little bit of that vibe. But yeah, we'll see. I think it went well. It was still remote, which kind of sucks. You can't really gauge how it went when you're not in the room.
But you got a call back, so it can't have gone badly. So.
It's just a game of numbers, really, at this point.
Yeah.
Do enough callbacks and maybe somebody fucks up and hires me.
Yeah, it's also one of those things where, like, you're stuck having to hope that you're not just leverage.
Yeah.
You know, you're not leverage to get a person.
I have been leverage.
Yeah, I'm sure you have.
I've been leverage against Michael Gladys.
Okay.
I believe his character name was Kinsey on Mad Men.
Okay.
I think he was written out by season 2 or 3. He had like a civil rights girlfriend.
Oh, right.
And then,
okay. I know what you're talking about.
Went down south, like did some Freedom Project stuff within the show.
Right. Not in real life with a time machine. Yeah.
No, but it was a series guest star what was it? Leverage. Speaking of Leverage.
Yeah.
The TNT show. I want to say that was TNT. Yeah.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, he was down in LA. I was living in Portland and came down to the two of us.
Yeah.
And
at least it's less likely that you're getting used for leverage as a New York actor.
in that situation, it was way more Leverage.
Yeah, because you were
Leverage-y.
local. Yeah.
And also the show was Leverage.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that
Yeah.
innately makes it more
Leverage
leveraged.
squared. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, they would have to bring me in, but that's not a big deal anymore.
Where's it supposed to shoot?
Portland.
Oh, yeah,
So-
that's not that big a deal
Yeah.
for you.
Having been there many years and basically being able to fly there myself at this point.
Because you have pilot wings?
I mean, I've got a lot of miles. I mean, none of them actually count because I fly standby, but
Long story. But
long story.
any of Sean's friends are intimately aware of this because of how often they have to deal with Sean's completely fucking random travel schedule.
Yeah, but I might just show up knocking at your door, Josh.
It's happened.
But if I was able to somehow maximize on those miles, yeah, I'd be in the Million Mile Club at this point. I've got a lot of miles.
Yeah.
I have a lot of radiation flowing through me, by the way, too, which I heard you can get from all the airplane travel. That's why I don't have a microwave, because I have to even it out somehow.
Yeah, we don't either. Toaster oven all the way.
Toaster oven, put it on the fucking
Stovetop.
stovetop. Like, the only time it really burned me, I'm not literally, is when I needed warm compresses,
Yeah.
which you can toss in the microwave. And I mean, but what? Coffee? Reheating coffee? Just make some new fucking coffee.
You know what you can do?
Hmm.
You can just pour your coffee into a pan. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like how they did it for hundreds of years. I don't get the microwave.
I don't need to irradiate my food and kill all the nutrients in it.
Is that the choice, or is it the space within the kitchen for you?
No, I don't want a microwave. I don't like it.
Okay, so somebody's giving you free microwaves off the back of a truck. You're not taking it?
No, we have a
Yeah.
toaster oven.
Me either. Yeah, it tastes better in the toaster oven.
It
either.
does.
Yeah,
Tastes a lot better.
So, this is this is kind of a cornerstone of this podcast.
Yeah.
That's why
Anti-microwaves. Microwave.
that's why we've temporarily removed Adam Schwitters from this podcast because of
Yeah.
this.
He's so pro-microwave that we fucking booted him.
I think with the kid, though, you kind of have to be pro microwave.
I know.
Have you seen anything good?
Well, we had pretty divergent opinions on the Fall Guy.
Yes, we did. And
Yeah.
I'll admit that if it got really good after about an hour, I didn't see it.
Oh, you walked. Okay.
Yeah, I walked.
I don't know if you'd feel like it was really good after you walked, but I mean, I think it closed well. Gosling's very fun.
I love Gosling.
Yeah.
Nice
Guys is one of my favorite movies of the last 10 years.
Nice Guys. I think they might be trying to kind of double down a little bit on the physical comedy
Yep.
of Nice Guys.
Mm-hmm. But he's got that.
He is a really strong comedically physical actor. Maybe he doesn't get credit for that. I don't think it really. I mean, yes, the dance sequences kind of showed him off a little bit in Barbie, but
Yeah.
the kind of buffoon, boy, he does that well.
God, he's fucking brilliant at it.
Yeah, he really, really is good. You know, here's a weird hang up I have sometimes with movies. When they talk too much about other movies, which Fall Guy does a lot, they're constantly quoting and the quotes are kind of Bush League quotes. And then they're like, oh, was that Rocky?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I like a little preservation a little demarcation between my movie world and reality.
Mm-hmm.
There's just something slightly jarring, and I know I'm being really attentive about this, about movie characters within a movie acknowledging other movies a lot.
Yeah.
What is that? I want my fantasy.
Well, you just want less. You want it to be less meta.
Yes, that's a good way to put it.
Well, I mean, I guess it's not really. It's like meta adjacent. Because
my gripe with Fall Guy 2, right? Where
yeah, I understand that.
she watched this really important person to her almost die in the first 10 minutes.
I think she was cut out of the recovery though, entirely, which explains some of that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, guy's got to do what he's got to do if he's at death's door. I don't know. And it felt like that was a relationship. It wasn't like a marriage or like a long thing. It's something that kind of started on set, right? Initially.
I think so.
Yeah. I don't know. I think if you're coming back from the brink of...
We both felt like it was preposterous that she would be directing a fucking feature after being a cam op on another feature a year earlier. That's a leap that would never happen without... You would need to cover that in some way.
Yeah.
Because it's just completely implausible.
Or she had a screenplay dripping with honeyed gold.
Exactly. Yeah. You don't get the sense that this is her, like, passion project screenplay that she's been like... Yeah,
absolutely not. Yeah, that's Josh, his hackles being raised from a production... from a plausibility standpoint, having served in the trenches.
Yeah. And seeing how long it actually takes people to get to a place, you know.
Let's see. Yeah, we could probably count on one hand how many cam ops went from that to directing a movie in
a year.
And not even an indie.
Yeah, no. This is a very large budget movie. Studio wouldn't take that chance, but whatever.
No. Have you seen Furiosa yet?
Not yet.
Okay, that's high on the list.
Yeah.
I actually had I have 2 invites for SAG screenings.
Okay.
One is the Julia Louis-Dreyfus movie. Haha, Jewy.
Yeah, funny gaff there. Which
I believe she is
Dreyfus?
I believe she is a shiksa.
She's Dreyfus is Jewish.
Oh, I thought Elaine Bennis, I think, is her character.
Elaine might be, but Julia Louis-Dreyfus is her Jewish banker great-grandfather, I believe, was put in prison for a little bit. The whole Dreyfus affair, I believe, is about her great-grandfather. Dropping in a correction here. Julia Louis-Dreyfus's grandfather was Charles Louis-Dreyfus, who was the founder of the Louis-Dreyfus Group. She's distantly related to Alfred Dreyfus, who was at the center of the Dreyfus Affair, but that is not her direct antecedent.
So this movie is called Tuesday.
Is it Nicole Holofcener, or who's the director?
No, unfortunately it is Dana Oniunas Puzic.
Okay.
Yeah, wrap your head around that. She's Croatian. And here's the quick synopsis of Tuesday. A mother and her teenage daughter must confront death when it arrives in the form of an astonishing talking bird.
Sounds Croatian.
So, I was supposed to go to this. And it got eviscerated at Cannes.
Yeah. Like,
walkouts and people sitting on their hands with cast and crew in the audience.
I don't fully buy the Cannes audience reaction.
What comes to mind when you think of that?
I think a lot of nonsense is tied into the 9-minute standing ovation or whatever. There have been plenty of movies that had that kind of reaction at Cannes that I thought were fucking terrible. I can't remember any off the top of my head.
I think it definitely goes that way. I think it definitely goes into the masturbatory, let's all stand up. I mean, I've been at premieres at Cannes that received that. I'm not going to say the names of those, but they weren't good then. They're not good now.
These are not movies you were in?
No, weren't in these. Just happened to be there at the right time, right place to get into a premiere. So yeah, I definitely think that there's some weird glad handing that goes on with those types of ovations.
For sure.
The movies that are like hated and people walk out of, I'm struggling to come up with as many titles that fit that bill.
I feel like there's one and I can't remember what it was. Feel free to get at us in the comment section.
Yeah, hit us up. But Honora winning the Palme d'Or at Cannes. I think it's the first American filmmaker to have won that in, I don't know, maybe 10 or 15 years.
Who was
Sean
it?
Baker.
Oh, nice.
Probably in my top 5 to see for this year.
I love Sean Baker. Although I haven't seen Red Rocket.
Yeah, I think you'd probably like Red Rocket.
You had an issue with What's His Fuck.
I had an issue with it, yeah. But Sean Baker, I mean, making movies the way that he does about things like this, he definitely has some type of prostitution, porn,
like marginalized sex worker thing that he does well.
Crusade, I guess.
Yeah,
definitely feels,
especially if you follow him on Letterboxd,
like those stories need to be out. But I think Josh, you would agree that like as long as you're putting out movies that are not typical fare for the mass market American audience, like even if we kind of hate the shit that you're doing, thank God you're able to
Yeah.
do it.
Mhm.
We need more of that, especially when you look at box office numbers for each and every year. The top 20 movies, I would say by and large, 75% of those are going to be superhero, talking animals, or sequel, prequel,
Sure.
regurgitated IP.
Yeah.
So Sean Baker doing the Lord's work,
Mhm.
putting out original ideas. And yeah, I mean, a couple names. Who else are sort of the big guys? Jeff Nichols, another one of those guys.
Love Jeff Nichols.
PTA, of course.
Yeah, he gets to do it with a much bigger budget than those guys.
Yeah, good Lord.
Does lost money even matter with PTA?
Yeah.
He just gets to do whatever the fuck he wants. He's just like, he's got the auteur. I mean, I'm not complaining. He's maybe my favorite director, but I don't think his movies actually make money.
I wonder who says no to PTA. I don't think anybody really does.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, he gets yeses from an actor who is essentially retired.
Yeah.
Like an actor who essentially does not works for PTA.
Right.
Like that
nuts.
should say it all. So
Uh,
I don't know what his next thing is post Licorice Pizza.
Leon worked on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Shout out Leon.
Yeah.
What's it called? Is it some California?
It doesn't have a name. They filmed some of it in NoCal, some of it they're shooting in the LA area. The rumor mill thinks that it might be another Pynchon adaptation.
Oh God.
This one being Vineland.
Oh, okay.
But it's not confirmed. The crew doesn't know. The crew literally does not know if it's Vineland or not.
Vineland might be like one of the more palatable, consumable.
Yeah. It's certainly more
Pynchons?
like one of the more filmable ones.
Hmm.
Like, I don't know how you would ever do fucking Mason and Dixon or Gravity's Rainbow.
No. Well, I don't know if you're not gonna get any. You're not going to get much tea spilled in the Leon episode, but check out Night of the Creeps.
Yeah.
Where Leon talks about shooting that a little bit, right?
Mhm.
Working in the production of that.
We recorded before he was on set for that. So his locations talk was from other shows, but
Oh, okay. Yeah, it may have just been kind of like what you doing next, Leon?
I know I found out about it before we recorded the intro for that episode, but we had recorded his episode. We record most of these like months in advance.
Also, watch Night of the Creeps. If you
Yeah,
haven't
watch
already.
Night of the Creeps. It's very fun. It's on archive.org. Links are on our Discord, certainly. So last week we watched Beastmaster. A little feedback here and there. Greg Grisolano said he also enjoys Beastmaster 2. So he...
Which is still rooted in that era, or it's before he time travels?
No, Beastmaster 2 is the time travel one.
Oh, 3 is when he goes back.
I don't remember what the premise of 3 is.
It's
I don't
called
think
like
we got into
it's
that.
called like something Brachus.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Okay.
but through the portal of time, he liked it when he was a kid, but he rewatched both a few years ago and said his nostalgia might be showing,
Yeah.
and that he still likes it. Different Leo, who is not one of our upcoming guests, said he loves Tanya Roberts.
Yeah, of course.
Steve Mioski said early 80s fantasy film rules. I'm on the OG Conan the Barbarian right now, to which I had to respond that you and I and Jackie saw that at midnight in a theater in Portland. Also, I just watched The Barbarians with the Barbarian brothers.
Were they professional wrestlers?
I don't
was
know.
their
I'm not
shtick?
entirely sure.
Okay. They're roided out identical twins,
They're
right?
super roided out identical twins, yes.
Oh, God.
It's a canon film, so it had a bunch of canon stable actors.
I feel like that's a movie where the box art would tell you more than you needed to know about it, right? Like it really
Yeah.
tells
So
you all about...
my Letterboxd review was basically, okay, so they cast Ozzy Canseco and Jose Canseco
Okay.
because they are as dumb as you would imagine a movie starring Ozzy and Jose Canseco.
Okay.
And they got the director of Cannibal Holocaust directed that. But they're like, what if you made Beastmaster but made it really, really dumb?
Okay, so some really good ideas.
Yeah.
Why'd you watch this?
I'll see something on Amazon and I'll be like, fuck it.
Okay.
I was mostly intrigued because Ruggiero Deodato directed it.
Okay.
And I was like, I don't know what he would do with this.
And
Because
you're a mess.
I've seen Cannibal Holocaust pretty recently. And it's very fucked up.
And you're a masochist.
I am a masochist.
So putting this on
Yeah.
is sort of a, well, fuck it. I
We
deserve
watched
the
Madam
pain.
Web this week, too.
Oh, my
I've seen a
God.
lot of bad movies this week. The last 20 minutes of Madam Web is the most incomprehensible nonsense.
So we just had a trivia question that came up that put our head through the ringer, which was Michael Douglas, Cliff Robertson, Adam Scott, who has not played Uncle Ben in a Spider-Man universe?
Michael Douglas.
Yeah, but like none of us had seen Madam Web.
Yeah.
And I think
you didn't know that it was set in 2002 or 3 or whatever?
Like, what capacity is Adam Scott Uncle Ben in Madam Web?
Peter's born at the end of Madam Web.
Okay. And what?
And Uncle Ben hasn't even
Uncle
gotten
Ben's
together with
his
Aunt
wife
May.
yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I don't think they wanted to recast a young version of Marissa Tomei.
But we have his parents there, and then just the brother.
Even
of
though
his dad.
Marissa Tomei in 2002 looks basically like Marissa Tomei now, but whatever.
Marissa Tomei, the fine wine of Hollywood actresses, only getting better.
Damien said film summary they didn't have enough in the budget for a panther, so they just painted a tiger. Also, you get to see boobies.
I don't know why a fucking panther would be more
The panther was
expensive.
more dangerous.
Oh, jeez.
I believe that was line of demarcation on that, if I remember correctly. I know they also switched, you may not remember this, but they switched animal handler companies.
Got some
Fucking
balloons,
balloons, man. They switched animal handler companies, and I think the other company had a panther and this one didn't. But
I don't know how much we talked about it in the moment, but that scene where the tiger is like leashed up to a post and you have actors like pretending to stab it, that tiger doesn't know that those are actors.
Yeah.
Well, like,
I mean, people did go to the hospital on that shoot, so
God.
not surprising.
Yeah. Any more Beastmaster chatter?
Scott Westover, who Adam and I and are the guy who does the music, we wanted to do this YouTube show. He was the kitchen guy at Little City. We wanted to do a YouTube show just talking about soup with Scott making soup, and then we would just shit talk the whole time.
Would you try the soup?
Yeah. The whole, it was all a build up to having the soup, but we would just like shit talk. It was basically whatever. Anyway, so, but he was going to be the soup guy. He responded to Damien, but they did have enough for a Kodo and a Poto. 2 ferrets working together, one dies. Never begged harder for at least one pet ferret after this movie.
Oh, God, yeah.
Also, Gopher Balls said on Blue Sky, I knew a girl whose first date was when a 6th grade classmate took her to see Beastmaster. I don't think she ever recovered. This podcast honors her memory. That'll be one hell of a first date.
I mean, there's got to be a lot of discomfort, obviously, with the Tanya Roberts stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But also just, it's not the type of movie that, like, you think, oh boy, like, this is really going to win me some points. It's such a 6th grade boy movie, I guess.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Not a 6th grade girl movie.
No. Shout out to the kid who had the stones to try that, though. Good Lord.
I mean, I'm guessing you hadn't seen it, right? Like, it had to have been on first run.
Yeah.
But that's still...
And he could still buy a ticket, right, to it, PG?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, very confused PG rating on that movie.
Sure. Who's thinking Swords and Sorcerer for...
right.
Yeah. Well, whatever. That first date didn't go well, guy. Oh, so... Peter said, like, he had thoughts about this, and I told him to call our call-in line, which he hasn't done yet. But we do have a call-in line, which I need to add to the end credits of each episode, but I haven't done so. It is in the show notes.
Yeah, call us up.
Yeah, it's 507-479-6440 if you have thoughts about the movies in general. Anything else? Oh, the Timberwolves lost. They got played out of the arena pretty quickly in that Western Conference Finals. Was not pretty.
Yeah. I mean, the weird irony is, I think we've talked about, thought they'd lose to Phoenix, they didn't. Thought they'd lose to Nuggets, they didn't. Thought they would definitely beat Dallas, they didn't.
Couldn't be more wrong about this team.
That is why I should not bet on sports.
That is why I do not bet on sports.
Yeah, it would be a slippery slope.
Mm-hmm.
I would always be throwing good money after bad.
Yep.
What do you think? Let's put it on the record right now. Do they make a move? Do they send Kat or Rudy? Or is this team more or less the same next year?
I think it's more or less the same.
Yeah.
I don't know that it should be, but I think it is.
I'll agree with that.
I don't think you can count on Kat.
I don't think you can count on Kat, especially as a second option.
And he's getting paid way too much to be a third.
I'm a little bit worried after what I saw happen for nearly a decade, more than a decade, with Damian Lillard in Portland.
Yeah.
That we'll just
watch. Gonna get wasted. Yeah.
We'll just waste it. Like we did kind of with Garnett for
almost his entire peak.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still got a ring, but it wasn't Pete Garnett.
He wasn't with us.
No.
Cool.
I mean, his MVP was in Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were playing on a little bit borrowed time, but I mean, season was successful. You went to one of the
impossible to argue anything other than that.
Yeah.
It just ended on a sour note.
It's weird how you get greedy, you know? Like I think on this here podcast, I was like, I just want to win the series.
Yeah.
I just want to win one series, and I'm fine with that. And then you beat Denver, and you're like, oh God, give me more.
I mean, if the Dallas series is a better showing, I think you feel less dejected.
Yeah, if it goes 7 games, you lose on a fucking buzzer beater.
Or 6, or like if you at least make it respectable, you know. I mean, they lost 2 very close games in 1 and 2, but both games felt like they were going to lose them the whole time.
Yeah, they made the T-Wolves look about as cool and impressive as Bradley Cooper in Stars Born getting a Grammy, or walking up there with.
I thought you were going to say Bradley Cooper in Aloha.
What is that?
It's that terrible Cameron Crowe movie.
Oh boy, I haven't seen
where
it.
Emma Stone's playing a quarter Asian character.
Oh, that's the one where she. Okay, yeah. Aloha. Good trivia there. No, we just pissed our pants, and Dallas.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
It was like we pissed our pants, and then Dallas pantsed us.
Yeah, but somehow you could see the piss after.
Yeah, it was yeah. On that note,
throwing to our interview with our next guest, our next very special guest, Brian.
Very special.
Newly wedded. I think he's got to be back now. But he was out in your neck of the woods, your old neck of the woods, honeymooning.
Seeing the sights.
Yeah.
Mazel tov, Brian.
Yeah, mazel's. Hello, humans. Welcome to yet another pre-interview on the Unkind Rewind. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Sean McGrath.
Hello. We got a friendly face here, Josh.
We sure do. This week, our interview subject,
our specimen,
will be friend of the pod, Brian Mann. Brian, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience?
Hi, Brian. I live in
it's underwater.
Yeah, it sounds like you're underwater.
Really?
Yeah.
I think the more you hold back there, the better, probably.
Hold.
When you get too close to the mic, it gets frightened.
Does that sound good?
That's a little better.
Yeah.
All right. So, I don't know. What do you want to know?
Well, where did you grow up, Brian?
I grew up in the New York City metropolitan area.
What?
Yep. And then I went to grad school in Austin, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And then I taught in Washington, D.C. for a year. And for the past, 12 years.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, 12 years. The fact that I could just say I've done anything for 12 years is terrifying.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've been teaching at a university in Central Illinois for the past 12 years. And I'm a historian of the modern Middle East. So I teach history, world history, Middle East history, and anything else they tell me to teach.
Are you a doctor, Brian?
I'm a doctor.
And that would be in history?
I could prescribe,
You can prescribe homework?
I could prescribe, homework, ridiculous historical methodologies and theories that nobody gives a shit about except historians.
So, Brian, what would be give us your top 3 categories on Jeopardy that you would run the table on?
I mean, my nightmare is to get on Jeopardy and it's modern Middle East and I look like a fool on national television. Man, I would say I always do well like on the world capitals or state capitals. That or anything geography, I think I'll do well. Like U.S. presidents or vice presidents, I seem to knock out of the park. Josh, didn't you have vice presidents when you were on...
No.
No? I thought that was the category like you swept at the very end before.
I would not have swept vice presidents.
Really?
No, that's my sister's area of expertise, not mine.
The vice president?
Yeah, she's been on NPR talking about them.
Really? That's awesome.
Her doctorate was in vice presidents.
If Josh had made it a week or two on Jeopardy as a returning champ, I'm sure his sister would have swooped in and tutored him.
Yeah.
Well, I know a little bit about what you're saying with the category to make you look dumb, because sometimes I think I know movies well, and sometimes I'm just overthinking something that's so clearly and easily asked, I guess, or stated on Jeopardy that I'm like, how am I not getting this? And then it's like, oh, that was Titanic. Like,
Yeah.
oh.
Especially Final Jeopardy when you have the full 30 seconds to second and triple guess yourself.
Yeah.
I was SOL on mine.
To argue out of the right answer.
Yeah, well, you got the best category of them all for Final Jeopardy.
Fuck Shakespeare.
Any Shakespeare category would be my Achilles heel.
I don't like Shakespeare.
Me either.
The funny thing is that if Josh had gone into that category not in first place, he probably would have come out ahead.
Yes.
Yep.
Because
I would have won because I would have just been been bidding $1 over the. No, that's how second place caught me.
Yeah.
Like, I had to cover max bid.
It was actually in a disadvantage to him to do well.
Yeah.
I knew every other final. I was the fifth recording. I knew all of the other four, including one that was a triple stumper. Yeah.
I would have been terrified if I had known all the other four leading up to mine. I would have been like, oh.
You're due.
Did not feel awesome about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was hoping, because the way it works is the Friday contestant, they're two LA ones. They're basically alternates, and one of them gets on and one of them comes back like 3 weeks later. I wanted to be the one that comes back 3 weeks later, and I was not. Whatever.
Bummer.
Whatever. All right, Brian. We're about Brian here today,
Yeah.
Josh.
Yeah, shit.
Have you been trying out for Jeopardy still?
I have not taken the test since really Alex passed away.
Okay.
R.I.P.
I just need to do it again.
Yeah.
I mean, I totally fucked up the
Well, now you can take it whenever you
in
want.
person. Yeah, I know. I'm more worried about. I mean, I know I usually do well on it. I just getting the call to go to that interview and then not fucking up the interview.
I auditioned the old way 4 times.
Yeah, I mean, so you took another test to start off, and then there were a mock game with the actual buzzer and everything.
Yep.
Yeah, I did well on that.
Yep.
I hated the question they asked me, which was like, if you won money on Jeopardy, what would you do with it? I was like, that's a fucking horrible question, and I don't know how to answer that the way that they want you to answer that.
Find a way to hunt humans or something interesting. Because every motherfucker answers travel.
Yes, it's travel, and it's always like, I'm going to take my mom or my dad, you know.
Yeah,
it's like my mom or dad passed away, and now I'm going to take the other one on, to Europe because it's their dream. And I'm just like, I don't know. I'm going to buy records and Blu-rays, you know.
I'm going to subscribe to D. Wallace's OnlyFans. A little too much insight there for me, but all right. Well, we're here today, Brian, to not talk about Jeopardy, but to talk about your childhood a little bit. I Josh. This movie came out of left field for me.
Oh, I've got a personal history with this movie, but I'll save that for the main episode.
Ooh, okay.
It's kind of awesome. So, Brian.
Yes.
With your, illustrious historical background, we're watching Hiding Out.
So I saw Hiding Out probably, whenever it came out on video.
So 87 or so?
Yeah. I was definitely in elementary school.
Yeah, sure. Obviously, you haven't seen it. We're doing the pre-interview. Before you rewatch it, describe what you think the basic plot of the movie is.
So I saw it when it first came out on video, and then I saw it probably 1 or 2 times on cable when I was like 13.
Sure.
It's been a good 30 plus years since I've seen this. But from what I remember, John Pryor is a lawyer in Boston. I remember that. We'll see if I'm right. I also remember he had a really thick beard. Which, as a kid, I found weird, because
it's Ducky.
Yeah, and I don't think even John Cryer now can grow a beard.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember he was like in witness protection because he was testifying. I don't remember if he like was laundering money for the mob or he put somebody away. Something had happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember how, but he escapes witness protection. And then he ends up going to somewhere out where I live now.
Uh-huh.
And he basically hides in the attic of a relative.
Hence the title.
Hence the title. He's hiding out in a Midwestern attic. And Keith Coogan,
Mm-hmm.
who I knew at the time from Adventures in Babysitting, which I had seen around that time.
Yeah.
I don't know which one came first.
Adventures in
Which one was released
Babysitting
first.
was 86. I think Hiding Out is 87.
87. I remember he was in it. And then I just remember that John Cryer falls in love with a high school student.
Uh-huh.
And this is a comedy.
It is a comedy.
Adventures in Babysitting is actually the same year, but I think it has an earlier release date.
Okay. Again, I don't remember which I would have seen first. Because my mom would take me to the video store, which I remember back then our video store was RKO Video,
Okay.
which is hilarious because that went obsolete even before Blockbuster did.
Yeah.
But yeah, she would take me, I would probably go 2-3 times a week from like age 5 to 13. So I remember asking to rent that one. And was it PG-13? Can you
I
check
believe so.
that?
Yeah, I'm checking right now.
Because I remember there being gunplay. I feel like there was shooting. And like I have no memory of
Yeah, it's PG-13.
PG-13.
Mhm.
So like I remember he hides in the attic and Keith Coogan, that's his name, right? Keith Coogan, right?
Yes. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
Jackie Coogan's grandson.
Yeah. Also of Toy Soldiers fame, which is another movie.
He had a good
you
run
should
there,
do.
yeah.
He had a really good
Adventures
run.
in Babysitting, too.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, sorry. Don't tell Mom the babysitter's dead is what I meant.
Yes.
The dishes are done, man.
Which that role is so different than
Yes.
what I remember hiding out, Adventures of Babysitting, and even Toy Soldiers.
Mhm.
Like, yeah. But I remember Keith Coogan helps him adjust to high school, even though Keith Coogan's like a nerd who isn't popular.
Yeah.
I have no memory of any of the ins and outs. I don't remember who the girl was. I remember she's somebody famous.
Yeah.
Like she was a big name. It wasn't Ione Sky, was
It's
it?
fine if you don't remember.
Okay.
It's probably better if you don't.
Yeah. But it was somebody that was big at the time, I feel like, or relatively.
Yeah.
And I feel like the Keith Coogan's mom might have been somebody. Anyways, I don't remember how it ends. It's funny. I keep seeing in my head the end of Billy Madison when Steve Buscemi shoots him in the ass. Like that there's some kind of shootout or something at the school is what's playing in my head.
Okay.
And then I have no memory of it. Does he go back to being I don't think he goes back to being a lawyer. I don't know if he has to stay in witness protection still. I don't know if he ends up with a girl.
Mhm.
I don't remember any of that.
Okay.
I just remember he goes out with the girl and totally they fall in love. And then I don't remember anything else.
Cool.
That's more than enough.
Yeah. So you watched this from basically, 8 to 13 or so?
13, 14, yeah.
Okay. What do you think you were like at this age?
Well, 8-year-old me was probably very different than 13-year-old me. 8-year-old me, when I probably saw it, 8 or 9, at that point I was a straight A student who cared.
Uh-huh.
By the time I was 13, 14, I was more of like a B student who didn't give a fuck anymore.
Yeah.
We're allowed to curse on this show, right?
Absolutely, yes.
All right. I was definitely more popular when I was in middle school than
Okay.
I was even in elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got to high school, I went downhill again.
Okay.
I peaked. I peaked at 7th grade, 8th grade.
It's rough.
Yeah. I don't know. I was into baseball. I was into collecting Star Wars figures and starting lineup figures.
Okay.
You know, I played Nintendo.
Mhm.
I read,
Were you a precocious reader? Were you reading stuff that was like
yes, it was way
not appropriate
above.
for your age group?
Satanic
Correct.
verses.
Yeah.
Fuck Rushdie.
Yep.
God, I fucking hate that guy.
I know, he sucks. Fucking Midnight's Children's so bad.
Garbage.
Yeah.
Garbage. I do not get it. I have no idea. No, I was reading, I don't even remember what I was reading. I mean, soon after that, I read the autobiography of Malcolm X when I was 10 or 11.
Okay.
That's the...
Like everybody.
Yeah. No, but that was totally... I had to do a biography, and
you chose Malcolm X?
I don't remember how that happened.
I don't think a teacher assigned it to you.
No. And she was not happy that I remember she was not happy of what I was saying in that classroom. Because, I come in and I'm like, Assalamu alaikum, because you had to give like a presentation. And, I was pointing out the inequities of American society, which for fifth grade probably was a little much. But that's the book that totally... So I wasn't...
Did that radicalize you?
Yes, totally radicalized me. I mean, before that, I was not... when I saw Hiding Out the first time, I was not a radical.
Okay.
When I saw it later on, by that point, probably 13, 14, I was reading Chomsky and...
Yeah.
In the Spirit of Crazy Horse.
Sure.
The Leonard Peltier, all that kind of stuff.
What do you think it was about Hiding Out that appealed to young Brian?
That's a good question. I mean, it was the 80s. It was all these high school movies,
Sure.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, my mom took me multiple times a week. I saw like everything that was coming out that wasn't extremely violent or had tons of sex in it.
Sure.
And even then, I saw both of those things because my parents would never pre-screen anything. They'd just look at the box.
It was the 80s.
Yeah, it was the 80s. Like, so they once rented me Deadly Friend, the Wes Craven movie,
Okay.
where Anne Ramsey's head just explodes.
Oh, yeah, the famous
Yeah,
scene.
like Christy Swanson, like, is like an android or a robot, and she just like her head just explodes. And I remember screaming. And my dad ran in, he's like, what the hell? I'm like, what the heck did mom rent for me? Like, because all she read was Friend. She didn't read Deadly Friend. So, I mean, I saw all of those movies. I saw all the John Hughes movies as, an elementary school kid. Mm-hmm. And I liked the movies that were different. And I feel like my memory is Hiding Out is a different kind of high school movie.
Yeah.
Because like another movie I remember loving as a kid, which I also have not seen in 30 probably plus years, is 3 O'Clock High.
Uh-huh.
Which again, it was very different.
Yeah.
That one was much more dangerous and sinister. Like the kid could get killed, even though it was a comedy. So I remember Hiding Out was just different. How? I don't remember. I mean, obviously, he's an adult.
Yeah, there is that.
He's like a lawyer that comes back, goes back to high school. But like, I also love like Just One of the Guys, which was, I guess, another one where a kid.
It's atypical, yeah.
Yeah. So
well, she's not an adult, isn't she? Just at another school.
Yeah, you're right. She was just a reporter at the other school.
I mean, she is like 27 or 8 or whatever, maybe 30, when she's playing this high school student.
Yes. Yes.
Brian, do you have a suspicion or a theory on why Hiding Out is a movie that like not many people know or have seen, and why it didn't make it to that echelon of movies that we're talking about now?
Probably because it was different. And I think there was, from what I remember, there was violence in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's some, yeah.
I don't remember that not first scene, but it's early in the movie when he escapes.
Yeah.
I feel like there was shooting or something. People, I think, died.
So, Josh, you've seen this?
Oh, yeah. Multiple
Okay.
times.
Oh, wow. Okay. I don't know where I was, I guess.
But I didn't see it until I was in my 20s.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Were you kind of aware of it back then? Did you have a presence of mind?
None whatsoever. Okay. No awareness of this at all.
I remember liking John Fryer as a kid. I remember liking him in Pretty in Pink as a kid. And I remember there's a really obscure movie that he was in.
Dudes?
And I don't know if... What?
Dudes?
No, I've never seen Dudes.
Oh, that's the weird one. Penelope Spheris.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, he's
what
like
year
a
was
punk.
That?
He's like a punk in the desert. It's, 86 or 88? It's right in this window.
So right in that window is a movie called Morgan Stewart is Coming Home.
Okay.
Where he's the son of like a congressperson, and they send him to boarding school because he's obsessed with horror movies. And I haven't seen this in 35 years, but I remember 30-something years, but I remember he was obsessed with Tobe Hooper. And as a little kid, an autographed chainsaw with Tobe Hooper, I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And then, years later, when I finally saw Texas Chainsaw, I was like, oh, it's from that John Cryer movie when his character loved this guy. So I liked him. Besides that,
Those are all 1987 movies, by the way. Hiding Out, Dudes, Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, and Morgan Stewart's Coming Home. He had a big year.
I remember seeing Superman 4 in the theater, and even then hating it as a child.
Yeah.
I didn't even remember he was in that.
But Mama was a big reason why you were such a student of film. Do you think her taking you to these theaters and...
My dad, too. My mom was the reason I saw so much. My dad was the reason I appreciated a lot of, especially older films. Like, he's the reason when I was maybe 14, 15, I saw In Cold Blood with Robert Blake. He's the reason I saw Clockwork Orange. He's the reason I saw Deer Hunter.
Sorry. How old were you when you saw Clockwork Orange?
14.
Okay.
Formative.
Yeah.
So your mom kind of was the just keeping the body nourished,
Yes.
like keeping calories in you, film calories. And then
my
your dad was preparing the
Filet
5-course
mignon.
meals, and
Yes.
Okay.
He was the one that helped me decide what cuisine I wanted to dine on.
Sure.
Yeah.
He's the one that cultivated your palate.
Yes, definitely. Oh, Easy Rider was another one I remember. Yeah, because I always heard him talking about these movies. And then I didn't necessarily watch them with him. He worked 12, 13, 14-hour days, backbreaking, blue-collar labor, where by the time I was old enough, even though I was watching movies I shouldn't have watched at a younger age, by the time I was like in high school, besides the fact I was a high school student who didn't want to hang out with my parents, he also was just exhausted, Mm-hmm. But afterwards, I'd be like, Dad, last night I watched, Clockwork Orange. And he's like, oh, I saw that in the theater, some place off of Times Square back in like 71. And, I remember it was X-rated, and that's why we went to see it. So, yeah, I credit both of them for not just my love of movies, but just the amount of movies that I saw, especially growing up. My grandfather as well, because he had illegal cable and would record HBO. So I would just circle stuff in my mom's TV guide of what was going to be on the following week. And then I'd call him and be like, record these 82 movies. And, he had the VCR hooked up. He had like 4 VCRs. And they were hooked up to like different illegal boxes, and he had them all programmed, like 2 a.m. record, this movie. So he was another person that definitely, because
It sounds like you were really putting him through the ringer on this.
But he loved doing it. He would ask me, to give him lists.
Yeah, this is like the torrenting days, right? Like this is...
Oh, this is so much... Programming a VCR to record something was the worst.
Yes.
So bad.
Yeah.
And like none of them programmed the same way either. You had to learn how that VCR programmed.
Yep.
You had to flip the tray down and type these extremely tiny buttons.
Yep.
It was almost like buttons that were inside the console that you were using, like bomb defusal, in order to program the clock and make sure that your clock. Yeah, it was a lot easier just to run 2 VCRs off a TV and do the dubbing thing.
The dubbing,
where you could put a piece of tape. I mean, this is like really aging all of us here, but
we all did it though.
You put a piece of Scotch tape over the back little hole, and suddenly you have a tapeable or a recordable movie.
I mean, we had hundreds of VHS tapes that he recorded, and there was always 3 movies on each tape because he recorded at the
6-hour.
6-hour one. So of course the quality was even worse than a regular VHS tape. But I remember I did not have Hiding Out.
Okay.
Because otherwise I would have watched it so much more. Because, I mean, I played these tapes to death. That's all I really did was watch the stuff.
Do you have any memories like specific to watching Hiding Out?
I just remember watching it in my room, sitting on my bed, eating cereal.
Okay.
Were you asking about that, Josh, or were you asking about the movie?
I have weird flashes of like, okay, I remember watching Howard the Duck, in this setting. I just have weird. I think it's interesting to like see if people have that weird like association with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember sitting on my bed watching it because I had the TV. I had a TV in my room, and it was like right in front of my bed. And I'm remembering eating a cereal, but I ate cereal in bed watching stuff all the time, so it might not be accurate. But yeah, but besides that, I don't have anything for you. Yeah.
So, what expectations do you have of Hiding Out upon your return to watching it this coming week?
I hope I still enjoy it. I really do. If I don't, I'm going to be very upset.
Okay.
It's weird. This is a movie I remember loving, but for some reason, I never taped it off of cable, years later, and my grandfather hadn't taped it for me. So it was a movie that just kind of got lost to me, but I remember loving it. Mm-hmm. There's a few other movies like that I had not seen 30, 35 years that I remember loving. So I hope I'm probably not going to love it the way I did.
Sure.
The very fact that it, like Sean, like you asked, like, why did it not get really any play? Mm-hmm. I'm afraid there's a reason for that, besides it being a different kind of... I mean, I truly believe, thinking of what I remember from it, like to maybe answer your question a little bit better, that maybe it was like one of those weird movies that just didn't have an audience because it's a high school movie, but I could see high school kids that were into like watching like Breakfast Club and stuff not like wanting to see something like this. And then it was probably not for adults either. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm curious to see what I think about it. I am very worried about the whole lawyer going back to college, dating a high school student kind of thing, which, I mean, every fucking 80s movie is beyond problematic when it comes to stuff like this. Sure. But that definitely is, I know it's going to taint whatever I think of the movie, even if I'm like, oh, it still holds up. That's going to bother me, I'm sure.
Well, give it a chance, right? Let's not hang it before it has its trial.
I'm not going to hang it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he was just out of law school and she was an 18-year-old high school senior. Right, Sean? So that's okay.
Let's give Hiding Out its day in court.
Fingers crossed.
I'm really looking forward to seeing how violent those violent scenes were because as a kid, they were violent. I'm sure it's not like, it's not like Goodfellas or anything where there's or like anything like that.
It's still PG-13, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just curious what PG-13 in 1987, because PG-13 in 1987 could have been a bloodbath.
Sure.
Right?
Could have been Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah. The director's cut would have been the PG-13.
Yeah.
I'm also curious to see where, I feel like it's in the Midwest. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious, I would love to see if it's like around where I live now.
Okay.
Because like in the movie, from what he's like a big wig lawyer from what I remember in a big East Coast city. Yeah. And then he goes to this small town in the Midwest is what I remember, which is my life now. So I would love to see, like, is it Iowa? Is it Illinois? Is it Ohio, Indiana?
Maybe you'll really, like, have a lot more in common with John Cryer's character in this.
I'm going to have to grow my beard out.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to seeing what that beard looks like.
I'm looking forward to you seeing what that beard looks like.
If he has a beard, he very well might not, but I swear to God, like, that was one of the things... Because to fit in high school, he has to shave, this massive beard. And I really want to see was it really John Cryer's beard, or did they like scotch tape, glue a fake beard onto this baby-faced
Maybe they gorilla masked
John
him.
Cryer? Yeah. Gorilla glued.
Just some sort of like magnet beard game. Like, where you control John Cryer's beard with shavings, like magnetic shavings.
Yeah, and I'm really curious to see, like, from the perspective I have now, why it wasn't a hit.
Or why it at least didn't have a lasting impact.
Yes. Where, like, people have never heard of it, or this is a movie that, like, not only have people never heard of it, I feel like it's something, I don't have cable anymore, but it feels like something that does not show up on TBS or TNT.
I have seen it on cable in the last 15 years or so.
Okay.
It was rare to see it.
Yeah.
It definitely wasn't something that stayed in the heavy Beastmaster rotation.
Yeah.
Which we just
I would
recorded.
like to be like Beastmaster was in the rotation behind.
We just recorded Beastmaster.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. That stayed. Cocoon disappeared. Nothing makes sense, Brian.
Cocoon.
Yeah. We also recorded Cocoon.
We're gonna make sense of it all, guys.
Yeah.
Beastmaster, the only thing, I don't even think of Beastmaster, I just think of Chevy Chase being Beastmaster in Community, there's like a Halloween episode.
Yeah.
That movie I have no memory of at all.
I had forgotten all of it, too. So, I guess, Brian, I'm looking forward to you rewatching Hiding Out. Me only having seen this as an adult. I'm definitely looking forward to adult Brian seeing the movie that child Brian loved and seeing what happened there. So, Brian, and obviously Sean, thanks for hopping on this call.
I'm going in fresh. I'm excited.
Yeah. So, Josh, when was the last time you saw it, you think?
I've seen it in the last probably 5 years.
Okay.
Maybe 6 or 7.
Josh has seen everything. It's
but I've seen this movie 3 or 4 times.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. Like, it's a cold day in hell if Josh has seen something once.
Yeah.
Have you seen Morgan Stewart's Coming Home?
I have not. I honestly have never even heard of it, except for it being on your list and it being like, what the fuck is that movie?
It's total. That's something that I don't think will ever. It's not and never will stream anywhere.
Well, if that's the case, then it's surely on YouTube illegally or on archive.org. Like it's definitely available somewhere for free.
Yeah.
Because no one's going after the like copyright infringement shit on movies that have fallen out of the
Well, what about
publicly available.
that James Brolin movie?
That's all because of the whole reason for Night of the Juggler not being available is because the prints are terrible and the only...
Oh.
It never got a release after VHS because it was stuck in like the company that owned the rights went into bankruptcy. So you're only seeing VHS transfers. Yeah, VHS transfers, and so the lighting is terrible. There's so many unintelligible scenes because of how dark it is.
It's like a 20-minute sequence where...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the New Beverly has played it, and Chad, who was our guest for Firstborn, he's seen it at the New Beverly. And he's like, oh, it's fucking awesome. But good luck finding a fucking film print of it, you know? Like, you basically have to
There's
live
a
in LA,
laser
basically.
disc in a Goodwill somewhere that's just begging to be found.
And I honestly, I think the reels for Night of the Juggler are Tarantino's.
Really?
Yeah.
So what the fuck is he doing?
Yeah, because he's heavily involved with the New Bev.
But why doesn't he then just release it?
He doesn't have the
Chunking
rights. You can't get the
Express
rights to it.
Really?
Yeah, you can't get the rights because it's all tied up in this bankruptcy bullshit. Anyway, sorry. That's a huge digression that no one cares about. But yes, thank you for exposing your childhood and your...
So exposed.
Yeah.
You're putting it on the line for
you
us.
You really
Brian.
are. Yeah, thanks. Hopefully the rewatching of Hiding Out doesn't retroactively ruin your entire childhood.
Yeah, let's hope it makes it through the court of our opinion.
Fingers crossed. Now I'm nervous. Now I don't know if
No,
I can do
go.
this. You're going to ruin my childhood.
You'll be fine. Probably.
Probably.
You've just listened to another installment of the Unkind Rewind podcast, mining and potentially ruining your childhood for content, one film at a time. Unkind Rewind is a Munchcast production and can be ingested wherever you listen to podcasts and on the Unkind Rewind YouTube channel. Music for this and every other episode of Unkind Rewind was composed by Divorcio Suave. Rate and review Unkind Rewind on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, Yelp, IMDb, Consumer Reports, Google Reviews, and TripAdvisor. Links to all of our social media accounts are in our show notes, but you'll find us as at Unkind Rewind Pod on nearly every social media platform that makes sense. If you had a question, concern, complaint, or positive feedback, you can email the podcast at unkindrewindpod@gmail.com, or you can join the lively Munchcast Discord to discuss this or any other episode of the Unkind Rewind with like-minded people. This dialogue with the pod may just make it into the next week's ep, so chat away. The Unkind Rewind Patreon will be coming soon, so start squirreling that pocket change away. Thank you for listening to another Unkind Rewind.